I've had an absolute blast working with Michael Bay. He's been nothing but genial, friendly, funny, generous, loyal. He's been everything that you know think about as being a rarity in this town.
Yeah.
I've been very lucky to experience.
I mean, with Transformers, you were the voice of Bumblebee, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been Bumblebee, Jetfire, and now obviously Lockdown in the new
Lockdown.
one,
Yeah.
which is was a huge break. And I've worked on all 4 films on the set. I've been on the set of all 4 films.
Spectacular.
Francis McDormand, John Turturro, everybody that's been, obviously Shire.
Yeah.
So everybody that's been on the film and worked, or one of the films and worked with the robots, has worked with me. And that was to be behind the camera, to be with Michael stood next to me. And
it must have been amazing. Yeah.
It's an amazing to be in that bubble of creativity and the spontaneity of what goes on the set is a real buzz. I mean, it is a real high.
And I don't know if you can tell us this, but is there going to be a number 5?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been announced.
Yeah, I think it has. I just wanted to make. Yeah.
I don't know whether Michael will do another one. I think probably after. I mean, this is the second film of the franchise that's generated over $1 billion worldwide.
Yeah, yeah.
That's $2 billion films back to back. But they're a 2-year commitment. I mean, for him particularly, because he's such a perfectionist, he is literally working on it every day and every minute of the day, just about, for almost 2 years. And I can see why he's gone, I need a break. I need to do something else, like he did with Pain and Gain between the third and the fourth one. I can see why. It's people don't get that, and when they attack the films for various reasons that I still don't understand, that it's an entertainment.
Exactly. Exactly.
These guys pour hours of dedicated artistic talent into making the robots, painting them, coming up with these effects, and it's supposed to be a ride. It's not supposed to be Shakespeare. It's not supposed to be War and Peace. It is not supposed to be Citizen Kane. It is supposed to be what it is, and so the critics can have a pop at it as much as they like the franchise. The fact is, it's generated, I think, getting on for 3.
Well, I know a lot of people buy it, and I know a lot of children watch it, and I watch it myself, and I'm a good fan of Transformers, definitely. One thing I want to ask you about, you've done a thing called the Greenwood Tarot. Now, you did mention a little bit earlier on. Do you want to explain what that is exactly?
Well, the Greenwood Tarot was the first one. I've written 2 books about tarot cards.
Sure.
Greenwood was the first one that I originally did with Cheska Potter. And that grew out of, it was actually Cheska's suggestion, originally to do a Robin Hood type tarot. And I said, well, I'd just done Robin of Sherwood. And the interesting thing, how that grew out of all of that, was that I found myself being invited to all these esoteric groups, talk about Robin and the meaning of Herne and all of that. And because I grew up in Doncaster in Yorkshire, I grew up with the concept of Robin Hood of Barnsley-Dale.
Yeah.
And Robin Hood's Cave and Robin Hood's in Scarborough, Robin Hood's Cove, and I grew up with Ivanhoe on his castle. I grew up with York, the Knights Templars preceptories around York. So I grew up with Saxon, Viking, Norman, Roman culture.
You name it, yeah.
Right. So I had not realised how much of that as a boy I'd actually absorbed. So when I'd go to these things, people would ask me questions about this stuff, and I knew about it.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with it. It's part of our childhood history. And so one day, Cheska said, why don't we do a Robin Hood tarot? And I said, well, the Robin Hood tarot thing, I think it's been done, but the whole ethos of the wood, the wild wood, and the creatures of the wild wood, I like that.
Yeah.
So we started to mess around with I think originally it was a Rider-Waite deck, which we laid out the major arcana on the floor. And started to lay out the whole deck, actually, into the Wheel of the Year, because I don't speak Kabbalah.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't function for me. I don't know why. I just can't access it. But the Wheel of the Year is a much more accessible and natural and actually European.
We all know it. Yeah.
System, So we did that, and we looked at it on the floor, and I went, "Wow, that's really interesting. It looks almost as if that is the way the tarot deck, was originally designed to work, not as a Kabbalistic system, but as a Wheel of the Year system."
Yeah.
And I called John Matthews, my mate John, and said, "John, we've just done this, laid it out on the floor. And it looks like this, and it seems to really work well, the cross-quarter days and the animals and the totem animals where they're supposed to be, and summer, midwinter." And he went, "God, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that."
It's incredible artwork as well, because I myself I'm going to buy it myself, but the artwork is amazing, isn't it?
Well, the new one, the Wildwood. Originally, the deck was called the Wildwood Tarot, but the HarperCollins didn't want to call it Wildwood because they thought it was too sexual. I know that sounds bizarre, but it's absolutely true. So they wanted the word Celtic in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So we ended up with pre-Celtic mythology or something, and it was called the Greenwood. And so I always wanted to redo it, and when the rights finally reverted to me after we were approached to republish the deck, but Cheska couldn't be found, and I was told she didn't want any of her artwork to be used anymore. She changed her belief system, and she didn't want, and we couldn't do it without her. So, but as I wrote the book, I was able to use the book, and we then got a new artist, Will Worthington, to design the Wildwood deck as it was originally conceived to be, and that has done extraordinarily well as a deck. I think they've sold something like 50,000 copies of that. So, the Will's artwork is brilliant. Although Cheska's was also beautiful. She did a great job. She just, for whatever reason, decided it wasn't for her anymore, and she walked away from the whole pagan spiritual belief system, if you like, and went, "No, I don't need to do that anymore." But Will Worthington has done an amazing job with the new deck.
Do you think that's what you believe as well, Mark? Do you think you're more of the pagan belief? Is that a belief that you have?
Yeah, I describe myself as an eclectic philosophical pagan.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what else to describe myself as. I mean, I respect everybody else's beliefs.
Sure.
I just can't get into organised religion. It just doesn't seem to.
I'm the same. Yeah.
Work for me. And the whole thing of having a human being, whether it be a priest or whatever, mediate between you and the divine, however you perceive that to be, seems redundant.
Yeah.
I can go into the middle of the Brecon Beacons and talk to, the universe. I don't need a priest.
Exactly.
To add another layer of morality and rules on it, you can go and talk to a waterfall or a tree, and the universe will talk back.
Yeah, very.
That's been my experience. So,
Very true. I mean, I've gone to the wilds of Dartmoor, which you probably know very well, and I've just been there and felt the kind of spirit and the whole universe around me, and to me that's better than maybe somebody preaching to me on a pulpit. So I know exactly what you mean by that.
Well, you mentioned Wuthering Heights earlier on, and one of the trips that we did was to the parsonage and to the moors. And again, if you listen carefully, there is a voice there, there is a pulse there is a very eerie, mystical feeling about those moors. I can understand why they were mesmeric and why they provoke such imaginings and storytelling out of the Bronte sisters. They do have an extraordinary... There are places like that. In Cape Town, you have Table Mountain.
Yeah.
Being in the presence of Table Mountain, I used to sit there and watch that mountain, and it has the most powerful presence, and I mean that in a you can almost reach out and touch it. It's a very powerful, mystical mountain.
I mean, I've been to the Caribbean, and there's places in the Caribbean that there's areas I've been, and you just feel one with nature, and I know where you're coming from with. Are you going to be working on? Is there any exciting projects coming up at the moment, or are you not allowed to say at the moment?
No, I can actually, because I asked yesterday. I'm actually I'm very excited to be playing a part in a new film called Street.
Right.
And it's a film. It's a very, very gritty script indeed. It's starring Casper Smart as Street.
Yeah.
And it's got a really good cast, and it's directed by Bradford Mays, lovely guy. And it's about the underbelly of the MMA, of the mixed martial arts world.
All right, yeah.
And I play this very dark but very sort of strange philosophical character called Yuri. Uri. And he's a Russian fight promoter and a very, very dangerous man.
Yeah.
And he's these very strange, twisted corners, and he's a very interesting character to get into. And so I'm very excited for the project. I think it's fascinating stuff. And as I say, it's a very gritty script, but it's very different to things I've done in the past. So,
sure.
You know, and then I'm actually rushing off to Salt Lake City to do a show called Granite Flats.
Okay.
Which I can't say too much about because they wouldn't thank me for giving away the plot of the show, except to say you can go and look at some of the show online, and it's based on some of the stories around a thing called MK Ultra, which was a real CIA operation during the late 50s and 60s regarding mind control and the use of various hallucinogenics and other techniques to implant personalities on people. So I'm not giving any of the plot away there, but it's
just gives us a taster of it.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'll be going off to shoot that next week.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Mark, for the interview today, and good luck with the projects in the future. And I hope that we can probably chat again sometime in the future. Thanks a lot.
Well, the other thing I'll just say is that for those that are interested in my mad life, Mythwood Books, which is Johnny Matthews' online publishing company, will have the biography coming out by the end of this year. I think by November. I've literally just finished the main body of the text, so we're chopping it about now. But that will tell you my whole mad journey from.
Is that going to be on Kindle?
Yes, it's going to be on all of those platforms first.
Yeah.
And then we will have a hardback and out later on, but at the moment it's going to be electronically published first through Mythwood Books.
Yeah.
And it's called Hold Fast, the story of a Hollywood pirate.
I did see that advertised, so I look forward to that, and I'm sure our viewers look forward to reading that. Thanks a lot, Mark, anyway.
All right, Richard, thank you.
Thank you.